Good evening, everybody. We have a great show for you tonight. I hope you all will enjoy it. So, as I'm sure all of you know by now, Israel and Palestine are at full out war with each other at this point. I should say Palestine and Israel. So, Palestine and the piece of Palestine that has been taken over by Zionists are at war with each other. This is what's happening right now in the world. And we need to be doing everything we can to support uh, Palestine. Some of my fellow conservatives, a lot of them are supporting Israel on, well, I'm not sure about on the individual level, on the level of the high ranking politicians. This isn't a matter of misunderstanding who's evil and who's good. This is a matter of wanting to get the bribes from Israel. So there right now Israel is currently committing countless war crimes against Palestine. Um, they're right. So I can come with a long list of war crimes for you, but there's a story I want to start out with. So the politician Revital Tally Goliv, and I know what you're thinking. I probably pronounced that name wrong. I probably did, but I don't care because this politician is a complete bitch, and I hate this politician. So why should I care whether I pronounce the name right or wrong? So this Mrs. Golith person said that we should nuke Palestine, that Palestine should be nuked, which is interesting because Palestine claims to not have atomic weapons. Everyone knows they have atomic weapons, but Palestine has been lying. Israel has been lying and saying they don't have atomic weapons. Uh, guess they're admitting that they're liars at this point. So I guess good on them for admitting to being liars because we're surely tired of all the Zionist globalist lies that we get every day, every second of the day. But what what are other problems with this? Another problem, there's a woman politician. Women shouldn't be allowed to become politicians. So that's another problem. But also they said that this was an atrocity because Palestine is killing women and children. So now Israel is killing Palestinian women and children. And but this is worse in this case because Israel isn't killing Palestinian women and children, or Israel isn't killing women and children, I should say, rather, um, because it wants to reclaim something that was stolen from it because it's in a brutal police state and is being horribly oppressed by a police state, not because it wants to get a jackboot off its neck, not because it wants to reclaim land that was stolen from it, but it wants to, out of revenge. None of that stuff is happening. It's just doing it for pure revenge. Let's call it what it is. This isn't self-defense. Palestine is dirt poor with almost nothing to it, while Israel is one of the richest countries in the world, one of the most powerful countries in the world. America has the strongest military in the world, and America is Israel's puppet. America is Israel's well-trained puppy. So there's no way in which Palestine could ever hold its own in a war against Israel. Israel versus Palestine is like David versus Goliath. But so this is not self-defense. They wouldn't have to do this for self-defense. They could do self-defense without doing this. This is just revenge. And more importantly, this is racism or racism. I don't really think I don't really take the word racism that seriously personally, but this certainly is in-group preference. So, what is the term that Jews always refer to for Gentile people, like the Palestinians, but also us white people? Goyim. Goyim. What does Goyim mean? It means animal. So they call us animals. They don't see us as human beings. This, I think this story goes into the broader point of modern day Jews are behaving exactly how the National Socialists behaved towards them, allegedly. Just think about how many war crimes the Israel is committing right now against Palestine and other countries. So 5,000 housing units in the Gaza Strip were severely damaged. 5,000 housing units. Israel said that why they keep blowing up mosques and children hospitals and old folks' homes and those sorts of places is because ISIS and the Taliban and Al Qaeda or whatever terrorist organization they're talking about at the moment is holding their weapons in those buildings. Do they actually believe 5,000 housing units contain the weapons? Seriously? Is that what we're going to believe here? Um, I want to talk about a story. So, the politician Premilia or Pramila Giaffo. Again, I don't really care. I don't really like this politician, so I'm not going to care about this. But she was uh, she was demonized and pushed down and sworn down because she called Israel a racist country, a racist state, a racist country. Why is Israel not a racist country? Every time a white person tries to fight for a homeland for white people, they're denounced as racist, Nazi, white supremacist. So I thought ethno-states were racist. Were they not? Mainstream media? Mainstream media. I thought you said ethno-states were racist. Then why would Israel not be a racist country? It is an ethno-state, and you have been telling us that ethno-states are racist. That ethno-states are racist. What I was saying about the term goyim, it fits perfectly into what they're saying. So when they say, so we're going to cut off their power, we're going to cut off their fuel, we're going to cut off their electricity, we're going to cut off their water, we're going to cut off their food supply. So the old medieval siege a castle sort of fighting technique just stop the civilians from getting basic necessities. Which, just think about the hypocrisy. So I don't personally have anything wrong with this military strategy. I don't think the term war crime, I don't think war crimes actually exist because a country has the right to fight for itself. So I don't think war crimes exist, but Israel does. Israel has been saying forever that war crimes exist. So do war crimes not exist now? Because according to their own rules, this is a war crime. But anyways, he called them, they said, these are human animals and therefore should be treated as such. He lit goyim, human animals. They mean the same thing. They're just admitting that this is how they view Gentile people. And I think this is something that all sorts of people on the right talk about all the time. And this is something that I've talked about multiple times on my show. But I think it's something that still needs to be talked about as there's still lots of people that don't believe this. So, why is Hitler a uniquely evil figure from history? Why is Hitler a uniquely evil historical figure? Well, they say Hitler killed 20 million people. Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Well, communism killed 100 million people. That's a whole lot more than Hitler, no matter what source you go to. Um, and right now, Palestine is killing, Israel rather, is killing Palestinians at those rates. They're slaughtering all sorts of Palestinian people. And the Israeli government, all sorts of Israeli politicians are openly calling for genocide against the Palestinian people. There was this Orthodox Jew I just saw on Twitter who posted, um, bomb it all, bomb the mosques, bomb the old folks' homes, bomb the children's hospitals. We need to eradicate the Palestinians off the face of the earth. So they're openly genocidal at this point. Um, I saw this pro-Israeli protest. I believe it was in New York, was it not? But in the video, they were interviewing people, and this person was saying, "Kill all the Palestinians, kill them all, kill them all." Um, and then they talked to this. There was this Orthodox Jew with glasses, and they talked to him, and then he said, uh, "Kill them. We want genocide. Exterminate them. Eradicate them from the face of the earth." So they're genocidal against the Palestinians. The Zionists are genocidal against the Palestinians. And Israel is committing war crimes against Palestinians. Israel has been massacring innocent Palestinian civilians for decades and decades. It has been doing that ever since the time it was established as a nation in the 40s. So, communism killed 100 million people. Israel is and the Jews are slaughtering all sorts of Palestinians, women and children, but yet Hitler was the worst person to ever live? How does that work? Well, it's simple. Hitler is demonized as being the evilest person to ever live and history's greatest monster because Hitler targeted Jews. Fascists targeted one group in particular, one minority in particular. And it wasn't black people, it wasn't Mexicans, it wasn't Asians or white people or rich people like the communists, nor was it Palestinians like Israel or Arabs at large, as Israel does, Arabs and Muslims at large, as what Israel oftentimes does, in addition to obviously white people as another group that Israel is genocidal against. But those aren't the groups that fascism targeted. And for that reason, fascism is given the unfair rap as being a uniquely evil part of history. And Hitler is given the unfair rap as being a uniquely evil historical figure and the worst person to ever live. I don't support Hitler, by the way. I think Hitler was a bad person. I just understand that he wasn't history's greatest monster. Stalin, Mao, Genghis Khan, all these people killed far more people than Hitler ever did. Their kill counts were way higher than Hitler's. But yet they're not the ones that are demonized. Hitler is. And why is that? It's because Hitler was targeting against the Jews. I wanted to talk about something. So BLM they are supporting Palestine right now. But where is the ADL right now? So ADL is religiously defending Israel throughout this war. But then ADL was religiously defending BLM and religiously advocating and supporting and simping for BLM, endorsing BLM for all these years during the BLM riots when BLM did billions of dollars in damage throughout the US and killed innocent people. But now ADL is silent on BLM. BLM supported Palestine and ADL just isn't saying anything about it. So this goes to the fact that there is going to be a race war between Black people and the Jews, probably. And if that ever does happen, I'm going to support the Black people. So, as BLM as an organization, BLM is a Marxist organization. They support Karl Marx. They're an anti-white racist organization. So I don't like BLM as an organization, but it's heaven compared to ADL. BLM versus ADL. BLM is the lesser of two evils. ADL is the devil. It's evil. It's a grotesquely immoral and dangerously unethical organization. And it makes BLM, an organization that I think is also deeply immoral, look like a saint. It makes it look like the purest, happiest organization in the world. So, yeah. BLM, please destroy ADL. I wish you good luck. Speaking of organizations I don't particularly like doing things I like, let's talk about Ben & Jerry's. So Ben & Jerry's has announced that they would stop selling ice cream in the Gaza Strip. So they're not gonna, excuse me. What Ben & Jerry's announced was they're not going to sell ice cream in the Israel-occupied parts of Palestine. So, which is all of Israel, but there's certain parts that even the Western mainstream media kind of are sort of admitting are stolen, and Ben & Jerry's isn't selling ice cream there. So, I hate Ben & Jerry's. I loathe it. Ben & Jerry's, for a long time, they had the thing, refugees are welcome, migrants are welcome. They were constantly saying this all the time. But when you look, Ben & Jerry's, it turned out, was using child labor to make their ice cream. They were using child slave labor to make their ice cream. So they were going to flood the West with blacks and browns, commit white genocide, replace white people, if it meant that they were going to make a profit, even a tiny little profit, off of child slave labor. So I hate Ben & Jerry's, but Ben & Jerry's did do a good base thing by supporting Palestine and making this business deal. But as you would expect, a lot of people are crying out anti-Semitism with regards to Ben & Jerry's. There's this famous post of someone for one of the Ben & Jerry's. I can't exactly remember what they called the flavor, but it was something like anti-Semitic almond. They made a fake Ben & Jerry's thing that said anti-Semitic almond and then had the happy merchant on it. Well, first off, Ben and Jerry's, go do that. I hate you right now, but I think I might change my mind if you actually made an ice cream called anti-Semitic almond with the Happy Merchant on it. Um, but but I think this is a clear example of that old phrase. The Jew cries out when he strikes you. So the Israel is striking at Palestine. They're striking at Palestine children, Palestine women, massacring them, committing all of these sorts of war crimes on them, attempting to commit genocide against them. But when you criticize that and call them out on their evil, on their war crimes, they say anti-Semite, anti-Semitism. You hate the Jews. You're an anti-Semite. You're hateful. You're a hateful bigot. You're racist. Um, so uh, I think the Zionists are crying out as they strike the Palestinian people. The Jew always talks about how he's always oppressed, but he never talks about why he's oppressed. Everyone is talking about how people are being mean to Israel, but they're not talking about why people are being mean to Israel. A lot of these people that are making these obscene comments about Ben and Jerry's, they like buy a Ben and Jerry's pint of ice cream and then take a few scoops and throw it in the garbage. I'm never eating here again. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm not sure Ben and Jerry's actually sells pints of ice cream. I think those are like the little ones, but this is getting distracted. So the people that are doing this, they're not showing you videos of the rubble that used to be a city full of happy Arabs. They're just talking about the backlash, exclusively the backlash. Oh, us Jews have been kicked out of over 100 countries, but are you ever going to hear them say why they were kicked out of over 100 countries? No, you're not. There was a fight, a fight broke out between Ben Shapiro and Andrew Tate on Twitter because Ben Shapiro is going, and to my shock, aren't we? Imagine my shock. Uh, um, is full Israel right now. He's saying, commit the war crimes, massacre the women and children, do it all, commit the genocide. We're going to commit genocide against the Palestinians. He's going full evil mode. Imagine my shock. But Andrew Tate, who is Muslim, is calling him out on his poppycock. Saying, stop this. This is terrible. Stop doing this. You're going to extreme. You should put more value on human life. So we fully support Andrew Tate on this channel. Andrew Tate is a million times better than Ben Shapiro. Andrew Tate has problems. There are certain things about Andrew Tate I hate, but he's a million times better than Ben Shapiro. So in other news, mosques are being bombed right now. So when it was first announced that they had hang glided in to the concert and they had killed women and children, the terrorists, it was all over the news. No one would shut up about it. It was all anyone was talking about. But how many people are talking about the fact that they're blowing up mosques? I believe they actually even blew up the third oldest mosque in the whole world. Israel, sir, I believe Israel did that. So they're doing atrocities. This is horrible. This is disgusting. But no one's talking about it because everyone's biased towards Israel. I said yesterday, I really badly want Palestine to win, but Israel is almost certainly going to respond with disproportional violence. And we're seeing disproportional violence right now, way worse than even I expected. I knew the people who run Israel were evil, but this was the like, especially the openness to it was shocking to even me. 5,000 housing units destroyed, blowing up children's hospitals, old folks' homes, uh, mosques, blowing up the third oldest mosque in the world, uh, openly calling for genocide against Palestinian people. This is atrocious. And even I find it shocking. I never thought of myself as a naive person. I thought I'm the opposite of a naive person. But even I'm surprised by the sheer brutality of this. And America is certainly going to raise funding because of this. I'm sure America will raise funding because America isn't even its own country. America isn't a real country. It's an Israeli puppet. It's Israel's little puppy dog. America has always been that way. It has been that way since 1776, and that's not going to change. America gives the most amount of money it gives to any country to Israel, and the second most amount of money it gives to Egypt. Why Egypt? Egypt was going to go to war with Israel, but a deal was made that if America would pay it a certain amount of money, it would not go to war with Israel. So we're making the biggest payout right now and the second biggest payout to simp for Israel. And we're going to raise funding. We're going to raise funding to Zionists because of this war, undoubtedly. We're going to start giving more money to blow up Palestinian children and blow up Palestinian old folks' homes and blow up Palestinian children's hospitals and blow up the third oldest mosque in the world. Destroy or seriously damage 5,000 housing units. The Gaza Strip is home to 2 million people, and half of that, 1 million people, are under the age of 15 years old. So 14-year-olds and younger. That's who we're blowing up right now with our dollars. They're using our money. If you're a taxpayer, they're using your money to do that, to destroy that. The U.S. taxpayers are having their money spent to kill innocents. The IDF, Netanyahu, this is what they're spending our money on. These these acts of violence are so extreme, they are comparable to the acts of violence that we saw in World War II by the National Socialists allegedly. What they say the National Socialists did during World War II, what the history books said they did, Israel is excuse me, Israel is currently doing to the Palestinians. I don't think we're ever going to have an honest educational system. The public school system in America is awful. And I think it's always going to be awful. But if we ever get a good one, it's going to say that the Israel was the evil, horrible monster country of the 20th century. That's what it's going to say, if it's being honest. Excuse me, of the 21st century. But also the 20th century, probably. I think I have more thoughts on this, but I think I'm going to save that for another video. Perhaps tomorrow I can further speak about this. But for until tomorrow, good night.